Good morning, I'm Nivareti Manu, and this is your morning news fix for Monday, 14th of October. In this update, Winston Peters says New Zealand First has not U-turned on foreign investment. The Deputy Prime Minister announced that his party will campaign on using foreign investment to create a $100 billion fund. He made the announcement at the party's conference over the weekend, and it comes days after Associate Finance Minister David Seymour announced a loosening of foreign investment rules. Peters says his past objections to specific foreign investments was because they weren't good for New Zealand.
Because it wasn't overseas investment, it was overseas buy-off. It was globalisation run amok in our country. There's a big difference to that and what's happening in Ireland, what's happening in Singapore, what's happening in countries like Taiwan.
Meanwhile, the mining sector is welcoming those reforms to the foreign investment regime. Investment will now be allowed unless it threatens New Zealand's interests. Mineral and mining advocate Stratera Chief Executive Josie Vidal says there needs to be long-term agreement across the political aisle on mining. And she says the sector can't just rely on domestic capital.
The New Zealand economy is not super strong and we're a small nation with not that many people. So that big capital often comes from overseas.
A belief that police are focusing in the wrong areas when it comes to gun crime. RNZ reports less than 5% of the firearms offences committed in Auckland in the first half of the year were by people with an active firearms licence. Council of Licensed Firearms Owners spokesperson Hugh Devereux-Mack says it shows the use of illegal firearms is the problem. He says illegal guns are more important to tackle than tightening existing criteria.
That's a difficult challenge to solve, and because it's so hard, we're often the lowest hanging fruit for them to go after.
Around 5,000 people who pre-registered to donate blood once the mad cow restriction lifted have either done so or are booked in. The change at the end of February meant people who lived in the UK, France or Ireland for 6 months or more between 1980 and 1996 could now donate blood here. Blood service transfusion medicine specialist Richard Charliewood says overall the donor pool has risen by around 10,000 people, which has a big impact. And he says they have about 100,000 donors in all, so a 10% increase is lovely. Incumbent Christchurch Mayor Phil Major has yet to announce if he will seek re-election a year out from local body elections. The first-term mayor was questioned on TVNZ's Q&A yesterday about the campaign promises he made in 2022, specifically regarding rates and selling off assets. Major says he went in genuinely thinking rates wouldn't increase higher than 4%.
I wouldn't say I broke promise, but I didn't do what I promised.
Another council is ending urban berm mowing to save money. Horowhenua District Council expects to save about $240,000 a year by ending berm mowing in Levin. And in sport, Team New Zealand has won the third America's Cup race against Britannia by 52 seconds off Barcelona to lead the first to 7 series 3-0. Reigning Supercars champion Brodie Kostecki and co-driver Todd Hazelwood have won the Bathurst 1000 to become the annual Kings of Mount Panorama. The pair clocked a race record 5 hours, 58 minutes and 3 seconds. Finally, Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich has set a new women's marathon world record with a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds in Chicago. And I'm Nivareti Manu. That's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at midday from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.